This week, Lauren Boebert accidentally made a wonderful case of why birth control should be provided to American citizens free of charge. And I'm not just talking about her existence as proof that we need birth control access for everybody, no. But here's what Boebert said during a House hearing. She said, "I left a prescription at a pharmacy once. I went to get birth control. I was there at the counter, went to pay for it, and the price was very, very high. I said, 'Wow, is this a 3-6 month prescription?' They said, 'No, ma'am, this is 1 month.' I said, 'It's cheaper to have a kid,' and I left it there. And now I have my third son, Caden Boebert, and so it actually turned out to be a really great thing." So you're admitting that birth control, just like many other prescriptions here in the United States, is in fact cost prohibitive. And let's be real here, it's actually not cheaper to have a kid. I mean, I think you had one of your kids in your car. So I do imagine, I guess that would be cheaper than having a child in a hospital. Sure. I certainly don't recommend that. I mean, don't have your kids in cars if you can prevent it, and don't ever take health advice from Lauren Boebert. But you're making a great point here. You had that third kid because you couldn't afford birth control. You're admitting that if you had birth control, that kid would not exist. And even though you say it's a great thing, I got to imagine that Mr. Little Caden Boebert there is listening to that being like, "Jesus Christ, Mom, seriously? Like, if you had a couple extra dollars in your pocket, I wouldn't be here right now. Why are you telling people this? I'm sorry I got you that great Mother's Day present because you kind of suck." But again, we need not just access, we need low cost or free birth control for American citizens. And that is the point that Lauren Boebert made, even though, again, I don't think she was trying to make that point, but it is the point that she made. Now, AOC was actually very quick to point this out because last year, Boebert and the rest of the House GOP actually voted against the Right to Contraception Act, which would have enshrined the right to contraception in federal law. So AOC pointed out, and then she voted against the right to contraception so she could double this problem and give it to the next person, which is exactly what's happening here. But it's not just contraception, even though that medication obviously is something that can prevent long-term costs. It can prevent abortion, by the way. We need to have this readily available. Contraception for both women and men, by the way. We need to let people have access to these things without having to pay a fortune for it. Personally, I think they should have access to it without having to pay for it. And Boebert at one point in her life clearly wishes she would have gotten it for free as well. But that's the thing with these Republicans. They'll tell you these sob stories like, "Oh, I was so poor, I couldn't even do this." And then they turn right around and say, "Well, since I suffered, all the other poor people in this country have to suffer the way I did." That is the Republican mentality. And we saw that, by the way, with the student loan debt forgiveness part. You had all these people coming out of the woodwork saying, "Well, I paid off my student loan debts. Why shouldn't these other people have to do it? Like, because I suffered, nobody else should get relief and everybody should also have to suffer too." That is the Republican mentality. That is a right-wing mindset. I have suffered in my life. I've told the story 100 times, going to the grocery store for about $12 in food, swiping my debit card and being declined because I didn't have enough money. I don't want anybody else to have to go through that. Just because I can afford groceries now doesn't mean I say, well, then everybody else should have to go through that pain too. I don't want anybody to not be able to afford food. I don't want anybody to not be able to pay their power bill. I have left prescriptions at the pharmacy because I couldn't pay for them. Not just for me either, for my children, their EpiPens. And I don't want other people to go through that, but that's what makes me different from Lauren Boebert. We have both suffered in similar ways, but I'm not heartless enough to say that other people should have to suffer just because I did. Lauren Boebert, on the other hand, if she had to suffer, then by God, everyone else does too. This is Hattie. Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.